Obviously, Coach, I want to talk about your mom, who was the most important influence on your life. Some people might try to say it's Hayden Fry, but we know it's your mom. Her name was Marionetta. You grew up in St. Joseph, Missouri. She was a single mom, which for the time was probably not all that common. Just the two of you in a small 400 square foot space. She, not surprisingly, workday was long. She started early. She ended late. And I saw a quote from you. You said, "She taught me that what the Lord gives you is time, and 24 hours a day is all you get." Just the best that you can, Coach. Boil it down for me. What's the most important thing you learned from your mom?
Well, there isn't a single most important thing, other than the fact that probably is, you know, is said so often in athletics about doing things right. I mean, she didn't have much at all, but she always tried to do things the right way. And I had a great appreciation for that. She's very self-disciplined. She cared so much about other people and cared about me, and I wasn't easy to care about. She was just amazing. Well, you know, she was 4 foot 10 inches tall, never weighed over 100 pounds in her life. Toughest woman I've ever met in my life. And you know, when I was growing up and of high school age and kind of wanted to go do some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing, I can just remember in that small apartment, and it was closet size. You know, my bed was a Murphy bed that came out of the wall, and my mother's bed was on the landing outside the apartment door, and it was a fold-up bed. And so I'd roll that in at night for her and pull my bed down, and that filled up our entire apartment. But she was, as you indicated, was an extremely hard-working woman, but she never drove an automobile in her life. And, you know, she couldn't afford an automobile, so she never got a driver's license. And when I was able to get a car, I bought my first car for $50 from my grandfather, who owned an automobile dealership. And so I wanted to take my mom out and teach her how to drive and get her a license. And we tried it once, and she said no. and no meant no, but I can always remember what I was alluding to. I can always remember sometimes wanting to go out, and my mother didn't want me to go out, and she'd stand in front of that door, you know, and she was here, and I was, you know, I'm not very tall, but I was taller than she was, and there wasn't any way that I was getting out that door. So she's an amazing woman.
Of course, she worked very hard to save up a little money, send you to the University of Missouri, and you lasted all of 1 semester and you flunked out. Right. So as you probably know, Coach, folks in my profession, we think we're amateur psychologists. So the psychology version of this story is that you were so racked with guilt over having disappointed her, that she had worked so hard to send you to college and you flunked and had to come home, that guilt is the engine that's been driving this work ethic all these years. Is that on the mark, or is that a little too convenient?
I don't know that that's, you know, totally the case, but there's truth to that. You know, I did go to I wanted to go to the University of Missouri. I was a walk-on. I couldn't, you know, I wasn't good enough to really to be there. In fact, that's when they had freshman football separately and played games, right, etc. And I was the 10th team quarterback on the freshman team. There were 11, and Ron Snyder, if I remember correctly, was the 11th, and he became, you know, the starter. But you know, I was just out of place in so many ways, and I couldn't find my way around academically as well. I think I passed ROTC, may have been the only class. But I did have that feeling of guilt that I let my mother down, because she really, I mean, you know, it didn't cost what it costs to go to college now, but you know, when you're making, you know, very nominal salary as she was, then you know, that's hard to save up that money to do so. And I felt badly about it, and that's why I went back to community college in St. Joe and then on to William Jewell.